Kurtop here, and this is 100 real evidence of the existence of UFOs in ancient times. What was found inside the alien mummies? Mexican journalist and ufologist Jaime Maussan made a sensational statement about the alien mummies found in Peru. According to him, rare metals and alloys were found inside these bodies, which could serve as devices for intergalactic communication. One of these metals is osmium, a rare and very expensive element used in telecommunications and space technology. However, it is also known for its toxicity and danger to humans. Maussan suggests that the found devices could be something like mobile phones that aliens use to communicate with. It could be a communication device, although no one knows yet how it works. Osmium, which was discovered, is especially surprising. This metal is not only difficult to find, but also deadly. If someone wanted to create a fake, why would they put such a rare and toxic metal inside? Currently, the bodies of the aliens are being studied in laboratories, but many scientists are skeptical about these findings. According to them, the mummies could have been assembled from parts of various animals. Cubic UFO scared the plane pilot. In February 2020, an aircraft on duty in Colombia collided with an unusual air object. Being at an altitude of more than 9 kilometers, the captain took a mobile phone in order to film a metal object moving in a straight line. Something that looks like a cube has nothing in common with a balloon or other objects capable of being at such a height. The distance from the aircraft to the object has not been established, so its estimated diameter is between 3 and 5 meters. Scientists suggest that extraterrestrial civilizations are afraid of a direct collision with humanity and are not ready for direct contact. The object caught on camera may be analogous to a scout who found himself on Earth in order to observe us from the side. Perhaps the aliens are studying us and are slowly preparing to visit our planet. Is it so? Time will tell, but the experts who evaluated the video did not reach a consensus. The object does not have wings and does not leave a trail, which means it is not a man-made device. Skeptics suggest that the metal cube is just a balloon that was inflated at an altitude of more than 9 kilometers, but physicists are convinced that the low temperature would not allow it to rise so high. The oldest mineral on Earth. In 2001, a unique zircon crystal was discovered in Australia, which is recognized as the oldest mineral on Earth. Its age is an impressive 4.4 billion years, which makes it a witness to the earliest stages of the formation of our planet. This tiny crystal gives scientists the opportunity to understand how the Earth cooled and formed in its first billion years. Today, this rare artifact can be seen in the Geological Museum of the University of Wisconsin in Madison, USA. Zirconium is interesting not only for its age, but also because its resistance to destruction allows it to preserve information about ancient processes that took place on Earth, which makes it a real keeper of the history of our planet. The Vatican's Alien Archives. Ufologist Steve Bassett claims that the Catholic Church is hiding evidence of alien life in its archives and is calling on the Pope to reveal this information. In his opinion, the Church has long known about contacts with extraterrestrial civilizations, but is deliberately hiding it. Bassett cites several proofs. First, he noticed strange images in medieval paintings that, in his opinion, indicate the influence of UFOs, hares fighting knights, or trumpeters using their bodies in unusual ways, in his opinion, hint at alien intervention. Second, in 2011, Vatican astronomer Gelle Magna jokingly said that the Church is ready to baptize aliens if any are found. Bassett took this as a hint at the existence of a secret Vatican program to prepare for contacts with extraterrestrial beings. The ufologist's third piece of evidence is a claim by former U.S. intelligence officer David Grash that Italy discovered a UFO in 1933 and Pope Pius XII handed it over to the U.S. Bassett is calling on the public to demand that the Vatican show these archives to the world. Ceramic figurines from Mexico. In 1944, thousands of ceramic figurines were discovered in the Mexican city of Acámbaro, which have since sparked heated debate among scientists. These figurines depict humans, animals, and even dinosaurs, which has led to speculation about possible contact between ancient civilizations and dinosaurs, or the existence of a civilization with incredible knowledge of the ancient world. Some supporters of alternative theories even hypothesize extraterrestrial origins or influences. However, the authenticity of the Acámbaro figurines is seriously questioned by most scientists. Many researchers believe that these artifacts may be modern fakes created for attention-grabbing or commercial gain. The lack of reliable dating and archaeological context increases skepticism about their authenticity. The Gelle Tablet. In 1924, clay tablets with mysterious symbols and images were discovered in the small village of Gelle in France, causing a heated debate in the scientific community. These artifacts, found by a young farmer Émile Fradet, were so unusual that they could not be linked to any known ancient civilization. The tablets contain symbols and images reminiscent of ancient writings, but their origin and meaning remain unclear. Some researchers have hypothesized that the Gelle tablets may be evidence of a lost or unknown culture that developed in the region thousands of years ago. Another more radical theory suggests that the tablets may be traces of extraterrestrial intervention, although there is very little evidence for this. However, the authenticity of the tablets remains in question. Since their discovery, scientists have conducted numerous studies to understand whether they are real ancient artifacts or skillful forgeries. To date, none of the versions have received definitive confirmation, and the Gelle tablets continue to be one of the most mysterious archaeological finds of the 20th century. Supernatural destruction of Mohenjo-Daro. In 1922, an officer from the Archaeological Survey of India, along with a Buddhist monk, went to the area, which turned out to be a religious monument. Instead of mounds of mud and stones, an entire Bronze Age city with a grid of streets, complex drainage systems, and flush toilets was discovered in Sindh, modern-day Pakistan. The city was part of the Harappan civilization, which reached its peak 5,000 years ago and ceased to exist around 1900 BC. The Mound of the Dead is the legacy of one of the oldest civilizations. The inhabitants of Mohenjo-Daro were in no way inferior to Egypt and ancient Mesopotamia. Once upon a time, this region was inhabited by about 35,000 people, but archaeologists managed to find only 43 skeletons that have survived to this day. The city's disappearance was mysterious, but in 1977, a British researcher discovered evidence suggesting it was caused by a massive explosion. Melted rocks and calcified skeletons suggest that the inhabitants of Mohenjo-Daro died instantly. In 2014, a doctor of mineralogy conducted a series of analyses and tests which suggests a connection between the Harappan civilization and aliens. This is indicated not only by the high level of development of the local residents, but also by the fact that they burned at a temperature of several thousand degrees. There are no volcanoes here, and the technology to reach such temperatures did not exist. Head of a humanoid creature. A couple from Switzerland found a strange head of a humanoid creature with big eyes and a long neck on the riverbank. Photos of the find were published on Reddit with the caption, "Found the head of an alien statue in the river." This post collected more than 61,000 likes and many comments. Although the head really does look like an alien, it was later revealed that this sculpture was made by students many years ago. One of them used silicone molds to create concrete sculptures and covered it with fluorescent paint. When the students moved away, the sculpture was lost or thrown into the river. Coko Stone. This massive stone, located near the town of Clydebank in Scotland, is covered with complex carved patterns consisting of spirals, circles, and lines, and it is still considered one of the most mysterious archaeological finds in Scotland. After conducting a lot of analysis, scientists confirmed that the stone is about 5,000 years old. The patterns on the Coko Stone attracted attention due to their uniqueness and complexity. Some researchers interpret these symbols as an ancient map of the starry sky, indicating the possible use of the stone for astronomical purposes. In their opinion, spirals and circles can represent stars, planets, or even trajectories of celestial bodies, which could help the ancient inhabitants of Scotland track the movement of celestial bodies. Also, the stone could serve as a place for rituals or ceremonies associated with the worship of gods or spirits of nature. However, there is still no consensus on what role this artifact played in the lives of ancient people. Proponents of the paleocontact theory hypothesize that the patterns on the Coko Stone may be evidence of contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. According to them, the complexity and symbolism of the images may indicate interaction with a more advanced culture, possibly not of terrestrial origin. Secrets of the Codex Gigas. The Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible, is an ancient manuscript that holds many mysteries. Created in the 13th century, it amazes with its size and content. Inside the book, you can find not only the texts of the Old and New Testaments, but also an image of the devil himself, which takes up an entire page. Most intriguing, however, are the astronomical maps, which appear unusually detailed for their time. This has given rise to many theories about the possible extraterrestrial origin of the knowledge used to create the Codex. Some researchers believe that the manuscript may contain encrypted messages or knowledge transmitted by alien civilizations. Legend has it that the Codex Gigas was written by a monk in one night with the help of the devil. What does this mysterious manuscript hide? And is it possible that its pages contain encrypted keys to ancient knowledge that came from outer space? The Codex Gigas remains one of the most mysterious artifacts of antiquity, which we will definitely study someday. Are aliens sending signals from space? With the development of modern technologies, humanity began to study not only the surrounding space, but also outermost space. Technological progress does not stand still, and new inventions make it possible to obtain more and more information about how this world works. Scientists have repeatedly received signals from space that are of a strange nature. Some of them took decades to study, which is intriguing and suggests that aliens living somewhere far away are trying to contact us. The strangest and most mysterious signal received from space was a radio signal emanating directly from the center of the Milky Way galaxy. In 2020, astronomers around the world were stumped when an Australian radio telescope identified more than 2 million objects sending signals to Earth. The computer qualified all radio signals except one. An unknown object lurking at the center of our galaxy was emitting powerful radio waves, sending out 6 signals in 9 months. The irregular structure and polarized radio emission were unlike any previous signal. Equally strange is that the object cannot be seen with X-ray or infrared light. 2 powerful radio telescopes observed it all this time, but the object mysteriously disappeared. It would seem that this is where the story ends, but a year later the strange radio signal was repeated and disappeared again a day later. This atypical behavior suggests that this is not a dead star or other space object known to mankind. Stumped, scientists classified the rare signal into a category called radio transients from the galactic center. At the moment, the category includes only 3 objects, the search for which took more than 10 years. The new Square Kilometer Array telescope, which should be commissioned in 2028, will help solve the mystery and possibly recognize the alien signal.
Wolf's Egg Artifact. In 1885, a worker named Rydell discovered a mysterious artifact about 60 million years old known as the Wolf's Egg Iron. He found it in a block of brown coal at a foundry in Austria. This metal object embedded in the coal caused great surprise among the worker and his colleagues. They donated the find to the local museum. In 1886, geology professor Adolf Hurlt suggested that the artifact came from outer space. However, further research showed that the artifact did not contain nickel, chromium, or cobalt, ruling out a meteorite origin. In 1973, analysis by Dr. Hubert Matlianer showed that the artifact was made using the lost wax casting method, suggesting that it was artificially created. The artifact is a nearly cubic shape measuring 67 by 47 mm and weighing 785 grams, made of solid steel. Its edges were sharp and straight, indicating its machine origin. Some experts believe that it was a fragment of a much larger tool. The find gave rise to theories about the existence of an ancient advanced civilization on Earth millions of years ago. And although many thought it had disappeared, the artifact is still kept in the Heimathaus Museum in Vöcklabruck, but is no longer on public display. Discovery of the star Sirius. The Dogon tribe of Mali, Africa has long attracted the attention of researchers and anthropologists due to their unique and ancient knowledge of the star Sirius. This knowledge is amazing in its accuracy. The Dogon claim that Sirius is not just a bright star visible to the naked eye, but that it has a satellite, Sirius B, which is invisible without special equipment and was discovered by Western scientists only in 1862. According to Dogon mythology, their ancestors received this knowledge from mysterious creatures they call Nomo. These creatures, according to legend, came to Earth from Sirius and taught the Dogon astronomy, agriculture, and other important sciences.
The information that the Dogon keep about Sirius is amazing in its accuracy. They knew that Sirius B is a small and extremely dense star, which is surprising for a people who did not have access to modern astronomical instruments. This knowledge has given rise to many hypotheses and theories about possible contact between the Dogon and an extraterrestrial civilization. Supporters of paleocontact are sure that the ancient Dogon could only have received such precise data about space from a highly developed extraterrestrial race. Some anthropologists and historians believe that the Dogon knowledge could have been acquired not from mythical creatures, but from European missionaries and explorers who visited Africa in the past. There are suggestions that the Dogon could have learned about Sirius B during interactions with scientists in the 19th or early 20th century, and then integrated this information into their myths and legends. Baigu Stone Pipes. In a remote area of China at the foot of Mount Baigu, amazing underground pipes made of stone have been discovered. These ancient structures, over 5,000 years old, are amazing in their complexity and precision. Excavations have shown that the pipes go deep underground and have a variety of sizes, from small with a diameter of several centimeters to huge, more than a meter in diameter. The technology used to create these pipes remains a mystery to modern scientists. How were ancient civilizations able to carve and install such complex structures? Their origin and purpose remain unknown, giving rise to many hypotheses and speculations. Researchers speculate that these pipes could be part of an ancient water supply or ventilation system. However, there is a more intriguing theory. Perhaps the Baigu stone chimneys are evidence of extraterrestrial involvement. The precision and scale of construction raises the possibility of ancient technology that we do not yet understand. It is interesting that similar artifacts are known from other places around the world. For example, on the Colorado Plateau, the pipes here also have a diameter from 50 centimeters to 1 centimeter. Archaeologists discovered that the inside of these pipes was covered with an iron-containing crust. Something similar was discovered in Louisiana, USA. In this case, the diameters reach 70 centimeters.
Burning UFO over Canada. 2018 Quebec. While on a walk and enjoying their vacation, the family noticed a strange object in the sky and decided to film it. An inexplicably shaped object was slowly rotating, glowing with green and bright red lights. Casual spectators were amazed, realizing that they had witnessed something truly strange and unusual. At first glance, it might seem that this is a spaceship burning fuel while gaining altitude. Canada is one of the few countries that officially records UFO data. As they collect data, they publish surprising findings and images, causing skeptics to doubt that humanity is the only superior race in the universe. The object caught in the video has no visible means of movement and exhibits anti-gravity properties, hovering in the air for some time. The absence of wings and exhaust gases proves that this is not an aircraft. Some skeptics tried to justify this with natural phenomena as an optical illusion, but on this day the weather was beautiful and it was clearly noticeable that this object was three-dimensional. A close guess suggests that the object was a hot air balloon with a mirror surface, but is this true? Perhaps we are simply denying the obvious, afraid to admit that aliens exist and they are already among us?
Immortality of Greenland sharks. There has been an unexpected twist in the case of Greenland sharks, famous for their longevity, which may provide a clue to the mystery of longevity not only of these fish, but also of people. These sharks, which live in the cold waters of the Atlantic and Arctic seas, can live up to 500 years. One of the oldest sharks, which was born around 1624, is older than Peter the Great. Scientists from the University of Copenhagen determined its age using carbon dating. Despite the fact that Greenland sharks are rare due to their habit of living at depths of several hundred meters, scientists are actively studying them to understand the secret of their longevity. Previous studies have shown that a slow metabolism plays a key role. The pace of life theory suggests that life expectancy is directly dependent on the speed of metabolic processes in the body. However, recent data indicate the importance of habitat. Greenland sharks live in cold waters where the temperature can drop to minus 1.8 degrees Celsius. Living in such conditions slows down all chemical and biological reactions in their bodies, which may explain their immortality. In addition, they live in depths where there are practically no natural enemies except humans. Professor Holly Shields from the University of Manchester believes that the isolated environment also contributes to their longevity. The metabolism of these sharks remains stable throughout their lives, which is not typical for most animals. Scientists did not find significant changes in the metabolic activity of their muscle tissue with age. In the future, the study of shark tissue at the Arctic University of Norway should help to understand how climate change and pollution affect marine life in the long term. Pyramid on the site of a volcano. The Great Pyramid at the Mayan site of San Andres was built in response to the eruption of the Tierra Blanca Joven volcano in the Lago Ilopango caldera. San Andres, located in the Zapotecan Valley in the department of La Libertad, El Salvador, was founded around 900 BC as an agricultural center that became the capital of the Mayan state between 600 and 900 AD. The eruption of Tierra Blanca Joven, which occurred around 539 AD, was one of the largest volcanic events in history, ejecting about 43.7 cubic kilometers of volcanic material. It caused significant climate change and devastated an area with a radius of up to 100 kilometers. Dr. Akira Ichikawa of the University of Colorado Boulder noted that due to the scale of the disaster, many settlements were abandoned and it took a long time to rebuild them. However, research in San Andres, just 40 kilometers from Lago Ilopango, has shown that construction began several years after the eruption. The start of construction of the La Campana Pyramid dates back to just 30 years after the eruption, and its completion took about 80 years. The pyramid, 7 meters high and with a volume of 23,000 cubic meters, was the largest structure in the valley. Dr. Ichikawa suggests that the pyramid was built using volcanic ash as a material and had religious significance associated with the worship of volcanoes in order to protect against future eruptions. Mystical petroglyphs. The distance from Egypt to Australia is 12,500 kilometers. However, as archaeological discoveries show, this distance was easily surmountable for ancient man. The Gosford glyphs are mysterious petroglyphs discovered in a rocky area near the city of Gosford in Australia. These images on the stone amazed researchers with their similarity to ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. The glyphs depict scenes and symbols that indicate that these images may be indicative of possible contact between ancient Australian tribes and extraterrestrial beings, or even ancient Egyptian travels to Australia. Supporters of the paleo-contact theory claim that these glyphs may be evidence that in the distant past there were interactions between various ancient cultures or even with extraterrestrial civilizations. However, here too, skeptics come in and point out many inconsistencies and believe that the glyphs could have been created in the modern era, perhaps as a hoax, or are the work of local aborigines who used symbols similar to Egyptian ones. The question of the origin and authenticity of the Gosford glyphs remains open. At the moment, there is no convincing evidence confirming their antiquity or connection with extraterrestrial civilizations, which makes this find one of the most mysterious archaeological secrets of Australia. The clearest photograph of a UFO. On September 4, 1971, in the northern highlands of Costa Rica, photographer Sergio Loaiza was conducting aerial photography of Lake Cote for the National Geographic Institute. Using a special mapping camera that takes photos at 13-second intervals, he did his job, unaware that one of the frames would be unique. Upon returning to the laboratory, Sergio checked the photographs and noticed in one of them a mysterious round metal object located on the right side of the photograph. It is noteworthy that an object resembling a flying saucer was not detected in either the previous or subsequent frames. For some time, the National Geographic Institute tried to hide the discovery, prohibiting Sergio and his colleagues from talking about the incident. A metallic flying object with a diameter of more than 18 meters was a closely guarded secret. But in 1979, a photograph appeared in an Argentine newspaper and was analyzed by experts. Soon, Costa Rica declared the photo as official confirmation of the existence of a UFO. Despite many years of study and debate among researchers in this area, no one has been able to say what kind of object this is. Skeptics suggested that the object on the right side of the photo was some kind of debris or stain that got onto the film while working with photographs. In 2021, a family friend was able to obtain the original photo in order to scan it using modern technology. This made it possible to digitize the image, making it clearer and more detailed. This allowed skeptics to see the saucer-shaped object at a higher resolution. The updated image allowed us to discard a number of banal assumptions and theories, since this was not a stain or chip on the camera glass. So what was it? Share your guesses in the comments. 188-year-old hermit. A mysterious 188-year-old hermit was recently found in a cave near Bengaluru. However, it turned out that the man known as Siaram Baba is actually no more than 109 years old, which is still quite old. A video of two people helping the emaciated old man move went viral online, causing many comments and debates about his real age. Siaram Baba was born in Mumbai and attended school until the 7th or 8th grade. He is a devout follower of the Hindu god Hanuman and has dedicated his entire life to spiritual practices. After meeting the saint, the old man left home and went to the Himalayas, where he devoted himself to penance and religious meditation. Siaram Baba renounced the benefits of civilization and lived in caves, covered only with a bandage, spending all his days reading sacred texts. Anomalous figures. One of the most mysterious artifacts of the African continent is the anomalous figures found in Sierra Leone, West Africa. These ancient sculptures, carved from stone, depict strange creatures with disproportionately large heads, bulging eyes, and other unusual features that are not typical of human anatomy. Some of them also depict scenes that can be interpreted as mythological or religious. The unique shapes and features of these figures have attracted the attention of not only archaeologists, but also supporters of theories about ancient astronauts. Some researchers believe that the anomalous figures may represent images of extraterrestrial beings that may have been in contact with the ancient inhabitants of the region. According to them, the strange proportions and features of the figures may indicate that they were created under the impression of real creatures of extraterrestrial origin. This theory, although not scientifically proven, adds an aura of mystery to the anomalous figurines and attracts the attention of ufologists and lovers of mysticism. Official science considers the anomalous figurines to be religious or ritual objects, and it is believed that these artifacts were most likely used in ancient rites or rituals associated with the worship of gods or spirits, since they could symbolize certain mythological characters. As I have already told you before, when archaeologists or historians cannot explain the origin of an artifact, it necessarily becomes an object of religious significance. Interestingly, the anomalous figurines are often found deep in the ground, sometimes together with other ancient artifacts, various iron objects or weapons, which complicates the task of dating them and establishing their cultural context. Some finds indicate that these artifacts could have existed in very ancient times, perhaps long before the appearance of known civilizations in this region. Ancient inscriptions of the pharaohs in the Nile. Archaeological divers at the bottom of the murky waters of the Nile in Egypt examined algae-covered rock formations. At first glance, the stones seemed unremarkable. However, upon closer examination, scientists discovered several inscriptions associated with the ancient pharaohs. A joint team of Egyptian and French archaeologists decided to explore the ruins in the reservoir in Aswan. Under a layer of algae, they found several carvings that were at least 2,300 years old. The images ranged from drawings of ancient Egyptian pharaohs to hieroglyphs. The photo shows several well-preserved carved figures. The shapes are blurred by water and quite difficult to distinguish. One set of lettering appears to be a row of mannequin heads above two objects that resemble tombstones. These ancient inscriptions are still being studied. Archaeologists believe that these finds will help to better understand how the ancient kings ruled in those distant times. Venus of Willendorf. In 1908, in Austria, archaeologists made a unique discovery. They discovered the Venus of Willendorf. This tiny figurine, just 11 centimeters high, depicts a curvaceous woman and is approximately 28,000 years old. It was found in the village of Willendorf and quickly became one of the most famous symbols of Paleolithic art. The Venus of Willendorf is carved from limestone and painted with red ochre. Her curvaceous figure, emphasizing her breasts, belly, and hips, symbolizes fertility and feminine beauty. The figurine's face is missing, perhaps indicating that its creators wanted to focus more on the body and its symbolic meaning. This figurine remains the subject of much research and controversy. Some scientists believe that the Venus of Willendorf could be used in rituals related to fertility. Others believe that it could be a talisman or amulet. Of course, it was not possible to associate this figure with an alien origin. Some researchers associate its unusual shape and good detail for that time with a possible similarity with the guests of their distant space. But why only one similar figurine was found is still unclear to archaeologists. Is the Alaskan Triangle a secret alien base? The Alaska Triangle is a sparsely populated area located between Juneau, Anchorage, and the small town of Barrow. According to official data, more than 20,000 people have disappeared in this analog of the Bermuda Triangle since 1970. Researchers claim strange paranormal activity, and some believe that aliens live here, having set up secret underground bases. By being close to humans, aliens can spy on military technology, which points to a number of strange events and an increase in UFO sightings after World War II. The disappearance of 44 military personnel and a Douglas C-54 aircraft can only confirm this assumption, since search and rescue operations did not yield any results. It would seem that all this is baseless speculation. But in 1995, declassified documents revealed that the highest point of the Alaskan Triangle, Mount Hayes, was mentioned in a top-secret government project called Stargate. The documents not only talk about aliens, but also claim that their base was located under the base of the mountain. No one was physically there, but the CIA used an experimental research technique called remote viewing. The psychic projection method allowed people with supernatural abilities to look into any place without physically leaving the CIA building. While working on the project, the one who stood out the most was a psychic named Pat Price. He became the first to confirm the presence of aliens hiding deep under a mountain in the middle of Alaska. The psychic's predictions were amazingly accurate, as were the drawings of what lay beneath Mount Hayes. The alien base had a clear structure consisting of tunnels, and the CIA agents knew about it. Soon after what he saw, Pat began to fear for his life, telling his loved ones that he had put himself in danger. Unfortunately, the psychic turned out to be right, as he was accidentally pushed in a Las Vegas hotel. The acute pain in the leg was not cause for concern, but the man died the next morning. What is equally astonishing is that the hospital did not notify the relatives of what had happened, but simply cremated the body. These microbes are 2 billion years old. Scientists have discovered the oldest microorganisms living in the depths of our planet. Rocks about 2 billion years old were found in South Africa, which is impressive in itself, but even more sensational was the discovery of living microbes in them. These organisms are the oldest microorganisms ever found in such ancient rocks. Before this discovery, it was believed that the oldest living microorganisms were found in geological layers about 100 million years old under the ocean floor. But a new study has shown that even rocks 2 billion years old can be habitable. This discovery significantly expands our understanding of life in extreme conditions and its evolution on Earth. The microbes were discovered in a crack in an ancient rock extracted from the Bushveld igneous complex, the largest intrusion of igneous rock on Earth. This region is famous for its ore deposits, including about 70% of the world's platinum reserves. Microorganisms that live in such conditions develop incredibly slowly and can survive for billions of years. This discovery is important not only for the study of life on Earth, but also for future exploration of Mars. Microbes that survive in such extreme conditions give hope for the possibility of life existing beneath the surface of other planets. Fuente Magna Bowl. A mysterious artifact found near Lake Titicaca in Bolivia also interested archaeologists with its unusual image. The bowl, called Fuente Magna, is a large stone vessel with unusual inscriptions on its surface. These inscriptions struck researchers with their similarity to Sumerian cuneiform, one of the oldest writing systems that originated in Mesopotamia. The unusual nature of the inscriptions gave rise to theories about possible contacts between the ancient cultures of Mesopotamia and South America. Supporters of this hypothesis claim that the bowl may serve as evidence of the existence of unknown migration routes or even ancient sea voyages that connected these distant regions. However, skeptics point to a high probability of falsification. They argue that the bowl could have been created at a later period, perhaps even in the modern era, in order to cause a sensation. Around 150 years ago, it was very popular all over the world to create such objects to attract people to fairs and make money from gullible citizens. Despite this, the exact origin and meaning of the Fuente Magna bowl remain unsolved, continuing to arouse the interest of archaeologists and lovers of the mysteries of ancient history.
London Hammer.
In 1936, an unusual discovery was made in Texas that became the subject of heated debate among scientists and ufologists. The discovered artifact, known as the London Hammer, was sealed inside a piece of fossilized limestone, which is estimated to be millions of years old. This led to speculation that the hammer could have belonged to an advanced ancient civilization and perhaps even been of extraterrestrial origin. Proponents of the paleo-contact theory and alternative history believe that the London Hammer is evidence of the existence of an unknown civilization that possessed advanced technology long before the emergence of known cultures. They argue that such an artifact could not have accidentally ended up in such ancient rocks. However, there is also a scientific explanation that the hammer could have ended up in the limestone much later than its formation. According to them, the age of the fossil does not necessarily indicate the age of the artifact, and it is possible that we are talking about a later inclusion of the hammer in the sedimentary rock. To this day, the London Hammer remains one of those mysteries that continue to excite minds and provoke debates about the origins of humanity and its history. And what do you think? Could our ancestors really contact extraterrestrial beings, or are all these discoveries just part of a hoax and were created in our time? Iraqi Ghost. Not long ago, a video published by the famous American ufologist and director Jeremy Corbell blew up the internet space. The so-called Iraqi Ghost, shaped like a jellyfish, has caused heated discussion online and attracted the attention of both scientists and avid skeptics. The published recording shows how a ball-shaped object with hanging tentacles flies smoothly and without changing its speed over an American military base located in Iraq. The source claims that after this, the ghost sank into the pond and stayed there for 17 minutes, after which it took off sharply at an angle of 45 degrees relative to the ground, and having gained incredible speed, disappeared from visibility. Unfortunately, the footage only shows a flight over the base, but the soldiers did not notice the object, which indicates its silent movement. Another interesting feature is the change in color of the UFO, becoming gray, white, and then black. All this indicates a change in the temperature of an object that feels great both in water and on land. Scientists suggest that UFOs are the result of the activities of an underwater earthly civilization, about which humanity still knows nothing. Ufologists are convinced that this video confirms the existence of aliens using objects of extraterrestrial origin. Critics are convinced that the Iraqi Ghost is hot air balloons flying close to each other. It is impossible to confirm or refute their statements, since the recording was not made while the object was immersed in water. It is noteworthy that this is not the first UFO that has the shape of a jellyfish. In 1977, the famous Petroglyphs phenomenon occurred when 100 people saw an unidentified object resembling a sea monster. A similar object was spotted in Sao Paulo in 2020, causing shock among temperamental Brazilians. Separately, it is worth mentioning the fact that the recording was filmed in 2018, but the US government diligently hid this information, fearing public disclosure. UFOs in 1665. In April 1665, 6 fishermen witnessed a mysterious celestial phenomenon, an aerial battle over the Baltic Sea near Stralsund. As soon as evening fell, a dark gray disk appeared in the sky. The exhibition, UFOs 1,665 inches, reconstructs how this event was presented in the media of the time and shows that many of the communication strategies used to cover unexplained celestial phenomena are still relevant today. The central event of this exhibition was the aerial battle on April 8, 1665. The fishermen saw flocks of birds turning into ships that fought in the sky. Ghostly figures scurried about on the decks. Soon, a flat disc appeared over the church of St. Nicholas, and the fishermen fled in fear. The next day, they complained of trembling and body pain. The media of the time spread the news at lightning speed, offering different versions of the event. In an era when religion played a huge role, people believed that this phenomenon was a sign sent by God. At the time, no one knew that the fishermen may have witnessed an atmospheric reflection of a naval battle over the horizon. Portal to the underworld. Last year, a unique artifact, the portal to the underworld, which was stolen and taken to the United States in the 1960s, returned to Mexico. Scientists recently completed restoration and returned it to its original location in central Mexico. This monument, created by the Olmec civilization, has long been considered a gateway to the other world. In the 1960s, it was kidnapped from Chalcatzingo, a famous Olmec archaeological site where it was depicting a mythical cat with gaping jaws, a symbol of entry into the spiritual world. The monument dates from the pre-classic period created between 800 and 400 BC. The thieves smashed the artifact with hammers to make it easier to transport, but did not damage the main features. It was smuggled to the United States, where it ended up on the illegal antiques market. In 1968, the artifact ended up in a New York museum under the name Monster of the Earth. Archaeologist David Grove recognized the Olmec origins of the monument and noted similarities with other sculptures at Chalcatzingo, especially the Olmec cross-shaped eyes and bromeliad flowers near the mouth. Monolith on Phobos. Phobos, one of the two moons of Mars, hides an amazing secret, a giant monolith. This monolith, about 85 meters high, was first discovered in images taken by spacecraft. Its size and correct shape raise many questions among scientists. Some researchers suggest that the monolith may be an artificial structure left behind by an ancient alien civilization. This hypothesis is based on its unusual geometry and isolation from other geological forms on the surface of Phobos. The monolith looks like it was deliberately placed in this location. This discovery caused heated discussions in the scientific community and gave rise to many theories. Some believe the monolith may be an ancient beacon or marker left behind for future space explorers. Others see it as possible evidence of alien activity in our solar system. Giant flames in the sky of South Florida. On February 9, 2021, a South Florida man was returning home from work when he suddenly noticed a flash of light, causing him to stop. Having recorded what was happening on his phone, Stewart witnessed an unusual phenomenon. At some point, a large white plume began to unfold across the sky, becoming larger and larger. This did not shock the worker, but rather amazed him because the phenomenon resembled a giant flame engulfing the night sky of Florida. As you know, this state is popular among UFOs. Since 1998, there have been more than 7,000 alien sightings in South Florida, some of which still defy logical explanation. As for this situation, the glow is as similar as possible to the trace left after the launch of Elon Musk's rockets in 2017. After the space mission began, similar glowing contrails remained in the sky, leading to an obvious conclusion. Despite the mysterious pattern in the night sky, it was probably not aliens, but a test of a hypersonic missile that left a bizarre trail that scared the residents of South Florida.
Our world is created by artificial intelligence. Professor Melvin Vopson from the University of Portsmouth has put forward a theory that we live in a computer simulation, and evidence for this can be found in the Bible. Vopson argues that the text of the Gospel of John supports this idea and hints that our reality is created by artificial intelligence, AI. The Gospel begins with the words, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Vopson believes that the Word is the code that runs the simulation. This code, in his opinion, underlies everything that exists. God in this concept is not a separate entity but part of the simulation, possibly an advanced AI that runs our universe. Another quote from the Gospel that Vopson refers to is, "All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made." The scientist believes that this also confirms his hypothesis that the world was created through the Word, the code. The act of creation can be seen as a programming process that resulted in the creation of a simulated universe. The simulation theory can also explain how God was able to create the world in 6 days, as described in the Bible. If we imagine our world as a product of AI, then the launch of the simulation can happen very quickly. Thus, Vopson believes that his theory does not contradict religious views, but on the contrary, gives them a modern explanation. The scientist also points to the physical limitations that exist in our reality as possible signs of a simulation. For example, the limitations on the speed of light and sound can be the result of the work of the processor that controls the simulation. The laws of physics that govern the universe resemble complex algorithms, and elementary particles can be compared to pixels on a screen. Vopson considers symmetry present in nature, patterns of snowflakes, butterflies, and other objects, as another proof. He believes that this may be a way of saving resources used in the simulation to create the world.
The simulation theory is supported not only by Vopson, but also by other famous people. Elon Musk, for example, has stated that the probability that we live in the base reality is extremely small, almost 1 in billions. He argues that our reality is most likely one of many simulations created by a more advanced civilization. Thus, the simulation theory offers a new view on the nature of the universe and the place of man in it.
The mystery of the Urft civilization. In Iran, in the ancient city of Urft, archaeologists discovered unique artifacts. These finds, over 5,000 years old, feature pottery and stone artifacts depicting unusual creatures and symbols. Particular attention is drawn to figures with elongated heads and large eyes which resemble descriptions of alien creatures. The images on the artifacts of the Urft civilization are so unique and different from other known ancient cultures that some researchers have hypothesized about possible contacts with extraterrestrial civilizations. These hypotheses are based on the fact that ancient artists could depict what they saw or heard about. The finds also include complex geometric patterns and symbols that have not yet been deciphered. This only adds to the mystery of this ancient culture. The Urft civilization, thanks to its mysterious artifacts, attracts the attention of not only archaeologists, but also lovers of mysticism and the inexplicable.
Has the first battle with aliens already happened? On August 26, 1946, an American scientific expedition set out for the South Pole. It was led by naval officer and explorer Admiral Richard Byrd, who took part in the First World War. The expedition involved 13 ships, 33 aircraft, and almost 5,000 U.S. Navy soldiers. The group under the command of the Admiral returned only 9 months later, reporting that it had to engage in battle with the remnants of the Third Reich and possibly aliens. Flying objects attacked the expedition members and caused significant damage to the American group. Byrd in his report claimed to have seen unidentified devices capable of moving at incredible speeds, changing their location almost instantly. At that time, the Admiral's statements, despite his high status, seemed like fiction. However, in 2018, a satellite image revealed a contrail left by something moving at incredible speeds. The trail stretched across the entire Earth, connecting the South and North Poles, which is about 20,000 kilometers. The maximum duration of preservation of the trace and its shape is 30 minutes, while most of it begins to dissipate after 15 minutes. Based on the data obtained, we can say that the object that left the contrail was moving at a speed of at least 80,000 kilometers per hour, which is 10 times higher than the speed of the fastest aircraft existing at the moment.
The first vending machine. The city of Alexandria in Egypt was a true pearl of the Hellenistic era, a center of science, culture, and innovation. It was there that the Museum was located, the first prototype of a university in history, as well as the famous Library of Alexandria, which stored knowledge from all over the ancient world. In this city in the 1st century AD, the outstanding scientist and inventor Heron of Alexandria lived and worked. His contribution to science and technology was truly enormous. He studied mathematics, optics, hydrostatics, and also created prototypes of such inventions as the theodolite, odometer, and even a steam turbine with jet propulsion. However, one of his inventions is especially interesting in the context of everyday life. Heron created the world's first vending machine. This amazing mechanism was located at the entrance to the temple and dispensed a portion of holy water for drinking and washing hands. The principle of operation was simple. A visitor to the temple threw in a 5 drachma coin, and the machine released a certain amount of water. The device worked thanks to the weight of the coin, which set in motion a lever that opened the valve. It may seem that such a simple system could be easily deceived by throwing something else instead of a coin. However, modern researchers and reconstructors claim that the machine could be adjusted to a strictly defined weight and size of the coin, which made attempts at fraud practically useless. This mechanism, despite its simplicity, was a brilliant find for that time and showed how progressive the ideas of Heron of Alexandria were.
Human blood on ancient mask. A gold mask from the Sican culture found on the northern coast of Peru contains traces of human blood. The Sican culture, which existed from 750 to 1375 AD, is known for its luxurious gold crafts, including funerary masks that were created during the Middle Sican period and often accompanied the elite in their tombs. In the 1990s, archaeologists excavated the tomb of one such elite. It contained a skeleton sitting upside down, painted bright red with cinnabar, with a gold mask covering a severed skull. Around the skeleton were the skeletons of 2 young women in labor and nursing positions, as well as 2 children. In a recent study, scientists analyzed the paint on the mask, identifying 6 proteins from human blood, including serum albumin and immunoglobulin G. Proteins from egg white, presumably from a Muscovy duck, were also found. Researchers believe that the presence of blood symbolized life force and could be linked to the idea of rebirth of the deceased. Spaceship in Turkey. In Turkey, near the city of Şanlıurfa, there is one of the most mysterious archaeological sites in the world, Göbekli Tepe. This complex, which is more than 12,000 years old, consists of massive stone structures laid out in circles. Göbekli Tepe is considered the oldest known temple complex on Earth. Megaliths, up to 6 meters high and weighing several tons, amaze with their precision and craftsmanship. The stone slabs are decorated with carvings depicting animals and abstract symbols. This level of art and engineering raises many questions about how ancient people were able to create such complex structures without modern technology. Researchers suggest that the construction of Göbekli Tepe could be associated with extraterrestrial technology. These hypotheses are based on the complex's extraordinary precision and scale, which some believe could only have been achieved through advanced technology, possibly passed down by alien civilizations. Göbekli Tepe continues to attract the attention of scientists and enthusiasts from around the world, fueling interest in ancient mysteries and possible contacts with extraterrestrial beings. Computer that is 2,500 years old. Aegean Sea, April 1900. Literally 100 meters from the coast of a small island, divers discovered the site of an ancient shipwreck located at a depth of 45 meters. For 2 years, researchers and archaeologists studied the debris, among which they discovered part of a metal box made of coral and created in the 2nd century BC. This device is the first mechanical computer ever discovered by mankind. The mechanism is 1,500 years older than any similar artifact and contains dozens of gears that control the mechanism. It is assumed that an analog computer could be used to predetermine astronomical events. Ancient Greece, it turns out, had knowledge of mechanics and could create devices, which completely changes our perception of history. It is assumed that the ship set sail from the shores of the island of Rhodes because this place was considered a haven of high technology of that time. The poets of ancient Greece repeatedly mentioned in their works animated statues that could freeze in place or begin to move as if life had been breathed into them. It is quite possible that this was not a literary device, but the first prototypes of robots created by man. The Greeks claimed that they received knowledge from the gods who descended to them from heaven. It is possible that in this way they explained the meeting with aliens who decided to share their technology with humanity.
Alien homeland discovered. Scientists believe that the exoplanet LHS 1140b may have a breathable atmosphere and an ocean of liquid water. This planet was discovered back in 2014, but new research has revealed many secrets. LHS 1140b is called the Eye Planet due to its unusual appearance. It is located 48 light-years from Earth in the constellation Cetus and weighs 7 times more than our planet. Research using a NASA telescope has confirmed the presence of water and a nitrogen-rich atmosphere similar to Earth. However, the local sun is a tiny star, only 1/5 the size of our sun. It emits energy mainly in the red and infrared regions of the spectrum, so the planet is likely to be in semi-darkness. If there is vegetation there, it is most likely black in order to absorb as much light as possible. Recent studies have suggested that the planet could be either a mini Neptune made of gas or a mega-Earth covered in water. Scientists are inclined to believe that the planet is a water world with a rocky core. It is also believed to have a thick atmosphere and a stable climate. Astronomer Ryan McDonald from the University of Michigan noted that this is the first time we have seen a hint of an atmosphere on a rocky planet that could support life. We may have found evidence of air there.
The mystery of the Antarctic monolith. In 2020, in a remote part of Antarctica, at a depth of more than 2 kilometers, researchers discovered a mysterious object which was named the Antarctic monolith. This object, which is a rectangular stone slab about 3 meters high and 1.5 meters wide, was found using sub-ice radar used to map the landscape under the ice sheet. The strangest thing began when scientists began to study the monolith. The surface of the stone was covered with complex geometric patterns and petroglyphs that were strangely similar to ancient symbols found in different parts of the world, including South America, Africa, and Asia. Analysis of the material showed that the stone has no analogs among the known rocks of Antarctica, which means that it came here from another place. In addition, the monolith had unusual magnetic properties. Instruments recorded a weak but constant magnetic field around it. Near the monolith, charred remains of organic material were found that scientists believe could be ancient plants or even remains of living creatures that lived millions of years ago. These organic materials trapped in ice could provide unique information about the ancient ecosystem of Antarctica when it was part of the supercontinent Gondwana. Some researchers suggest that this could be the trace of an advanced civilization that existed long before humans appeared. Others claim that it is potential evidence of contact with extraterrestrial beings. Yonaguni Monument. Off the coast of Japan, near the island of Yonaguni, there is one of the most mysterious underwater objects, the Yonaguni Monument. This massive rock complex was discovered in 1986 by Japanese diver Kihachiro Aratatake. The structure, lying at a depth of about 25 meters, resembles giant terraces and platforms, giving the impression of an ancient megalithic complex. The origin of the Yonaguni Monument is still a matter of debate. Some scientists believe the structure is a natural geological formation that has been eroded. However, the symmetry and clear lines, reminiscent of steps and walls, lead many researchers to assume that this is a man-made structure. Proponents of the theory of an ancient civilization point to possible similarities with other megalithic structures, such as the pyramids of Egypt or structures in Malta. These hypotheses raise questions about what technologies might have been used to create such structures thousands of years ago. The most intriguing is the hypothesis of extraterrestrial intervention. Some researchers believe that such complex and massive structures could only be created with the help of knowledge and technology transmitted by alien guests. The Yonaguni Monument continues to attract the attention of scientists and mystery lovers from all over the world. Strange object hovering in the sky for several hours. According to Islamic scholars, there are verses in the Holy Quran that indirectly hint at the presence of extraterrestrial life. Perhaps this is why there is more and more information that residents of Islamic countries such as Pakistan are witnessing UFOs. On January 25, 2022, in Islamabad, a local resident watching the sunset from the roof of his house noticed a mysterious black object hovering in the sky. An unidentified thing, more reminiscent of a flying stone, was motionless for several hours. Changing its shape over time, the object became like a triangle. It is noteworthy that the flying object did not emit or reflect light, completely freezing at an altitude of about 500 meters. The local resident was shocked and watched the object with interest, filming it on his phone as he had never seen anything like it. Experts who watched the video are skeptical about the discovery. Pakistan is a country with high military potential that is actively developing unmanned aerial devices. It is likely that what was seen was a loitering munition or a drone performing a test flight. Despite the fact that the discovery was made in 2022, the video is of rather poor quality. This does not allow experts to make an unambiguous verdict, leaving a chance for the extraterrestrial origin of the mysterious object. From antiquity to modernity. Archaeologists, studying an ornament found in a 5th century female burial, discovered its unexpected similarity to a charivari, a traditional Bavarian accessory. This decorative element, consisting of coins, keys, and amulets, had a symbolic meaning and could reflect the status of the owner. During excavations in Bavaria in 2016, an unusual collection of objects combined into one accessory was found in the burial of a young woman from the 5th century. The set included 2 bronze keys, a case for a bone needle, bronze rings, 3 Roman coins with holes, a decorated walnut pendant, and other interesting artifacts. These objects, attached to leather straps, reminded researchers of elements of charivari, a type of jewelry known in Bavarian culture. The find attracted the attention of scientists, as it may indicate the ancient roots of charivari. The accessory likely symbolized status or cultural identity. After restoration, experts recognized it as an important element of late antique culture on the borders of the Roman Empire. Asteroid influence and contact with the gods. The asteroid believed to have wiped out the dinosaurs some 66 million years ago has left a significant mark on the Yucatan Peninsula. This impact created the Chicxulub crater, which is still an important geological feature. Although this cataclysm occurred long before the emergence of the Mayan civilization, its long-term geological and environmental consequences may have influenced the formation of the region in which the culture later developed. Archaeological finds, such as cities and buildings destroyed and buried under a layer of sediment, may indirectly confirm the theory of cataclysms that occurred in Yucatan. However, there is no direct evidence that the Mayans knew about the asteroid that destroyed the dinosaurs or had any information about them. The idea that the Mayans may have had contact with dinosaurs is scientifically unfounded. Dinosaurs went extinct long before the first humans appeared, not to mention the Mayan civilization. However, in mythology and their art, one can find depictions of creatures that can be interpreted as legendary or mythical animals, but this is not evidence of their actual contact with dinosaurs. Researchers sometimes find dinosaur fossils in Mesoamerica, but these findings date back to a time before human history. Such finds may be of interest to geologists and paleontologists, but they do not support the theory of Mayan contact with dinosaurs. Knowledge of ancient cataclysms may have been integrated into their mythology and beliefs, linking natural phenomena to the actions of the gods. The Mayans believed in cyclical time and recurring catastrophes, which may have been a reflection of their understanding of the past and prediction of future events. Mystical stones of Jalisco. Piedras grabadas de Ojuelos de Jalisco are mysterious stones found in the Mexican state of Jalisco, carved with strange figures, scenes, and symbols. These stones have attracted the attention of researchers and UFO enthusiasts due to images that some believe indicate ancient civilizations had contact with extraterrestrial beings. The stones depict people interacting with alien-like figures as well as objects similar to modern ideas about UFOs. Proponents of the paleo-contact theory argue that these stones may be important evidence that ancient Jalisco cultures did encounter extraterrestrial beings, or at least perceive such contacts in their myths and legends. Despite their controversy and lack of scientific evidence, the stones continue to attract interest as a possible artifact that reflects the interaction of mythology and reality in ancient cultures. They still fascinate antiquarians, raising questions about the extent to which our ancestors could perceive or interpret unusual phenomena. Examples from Japan. The Japanese government has long denied the existence of UFOs, citing a lack of reliable evidence and fears of possible public panic. In addition, the government sought to maintain control over information to avoid any data leakage. However, Japanese pilots have repeatedly reported UFO sightings. One famous case occurred in 1986 when the crew of a Japanese cargo plane over Alaska observed 3 unidentified objects that accompanied them for 50 minutes. This incident received enormous attention and aroused the interest of both ufologists and the public. In 2020, the Japanese government's attitude towards UFOs has changed significantly. Defense Minister Taro Kono said the government will start taking UFO reports more seriously and will develop instructions for pilots and military personnel in case of encounters with unidentified objects. The decision comes amid growing surveillance and pressure from people. The Secretary of Defense has initiated the development of standard procedures for collecting and analyzing data from such incidents, and has also increased cooperation with international partners. Analysis of UFO data by the Japanese military has shown that some sightings indeed cannot be explained by normal phenomena or known aircraft. However, no convincing evidence of the presence of extraterrestrial technology has yet been found. Monolith in the middle of the desert. In November 2020, in the Red Rock Desert of southern Utah, a helicopter crew and biologists were counting livestock when they noticed something startling. Approaching the mysterious object, they discovered a large, shiny silver object located in a canyon inaccessible to humans. Utah authorities tried to keep the discovery a secret, but soon data about it was leaked on social networks. People struck by the object called it the Utah Monolith, a remnant of aliens. A mysterious metal monument that found itself in the middle of the desert has become the subject of fantasies and the rich imagination of people who believe in the existence of more intelligent civilizations living on other planets. It was assumed that this monolith was left by an alien spaceship so that they could contact us. Many were convinced that the monolith was built from alien building materials. The materials have unique properties that are not found in nature on our planet. The metal and ceramic composite is capable of absorbing radar waves. It is known that alien ships with anti-gravity properties can have a similar alloy. Some believe that the US government not only knows about these materials, but is also using the remains of alien ships to create the next generation of weapons. Experts carefully checked the monolith to determine the type of metal and also tried to find cavities in the mysterious object. Despite all the theories and speculation on social networks, scientists are convinced that the monolith was created by man and perhaps placed in the canyon only to become a manifestation of the beauty of a work of art. Image of a car on an ancient temple. The Sagara Madu Temple, also known as Pura Dalam Jagaraga, is located in the north of Bali, 11 kilometers east of the city of Singaraja. The temple is located in the village of Jagaraga, known for the tragic event of 1849, when during the Dutch colonization there was a mass ritual suicide of local residents. The temple was originally built in the 12th century during the reign of King Raj Sri Aji Jagaraga, but was later destroyed during the Dutch invasion. Restoration of the temple began in 1865, and its current appearance has largely been preserved since then. The temple complex includes two temples, Pura Dalam, dedicated to Shiva, and Pura Pradzapat, dedicated to Durga, reflecting their mythological roles as consorts in Hinduism. The walls of the temple are decorated with carvings depicting leaves, flowers, nagas, snake-like creatures, and human figures. Pura Dalam Sagara Madu is associated with rituals of death and destruction, as it is dedicated to Shiva. In the central courtyard, there is a carved gate called Paduraksa, decorated with the head of the mythical creature Bahoma, as well as pavilions for preparing offerings and performing rituals. This temple is unique in that its walls are decorated with scenes from the Western world, such as an airplane falling into the sea, a ship being attacked by a sea monster, and an antique car. Such images appeared because Singaraja was the main seaport of Bali in the 19th and 20th centuries, through which contact with European civilization took place. Mysterious accessory from the future. Archaeologists have discovered wall carvings depicting objects similar to modern handbags. Some of these images are about 12,000 years old. The earliest were found in Turkey in the ruins of the megalithic temple of Göbekli Tepe, where strange images are engraved on the columns of the ancient temple. Similar motifs have been discovered in Mexico, Iraq, and South America, raising many questions about the possible use of such objects by ancient civilizations. Although the images resemble handbags or clutches, experts believe the ancient ruins are more likely to depict baskets. Some believe that the concept of a handbag may have been invented by ancient civilizations. The first modern bag appeared in 1841 in England, created by Samuel Parkinson. The problem is that the Göbekli Tepe temple was built in 9000 BC, and its builders could hardly have known about such an accessory. Another ancient example of a handbag was found in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs written about 5,000 years ago, where the gods hold a small square object symbolizing prosperity. Archaeologists have indeed found remains of baskets and tool bags used by the ancient Egyptians, but they cannot yet say for sure what is depicted in the hieroglyphs. Similar discoveries were made in Iraq, among the ruins of an Assyrian palace built between 883 and 859 BC, which depicts a genie with wings holding what appears to be a handbag. Historian David Miano believes that these figures, called Apkallu, were minor deities who carried water buckets made from sacred date palms rather than purses. Ancient buckets similar to the engravings were actually found in Iraq. Similar motifs have also been found in Mexico among Toltec ruins, where giant statues hold objects resembling handbags. These statues were created around 750 AD. Dangers and mystical deaths. People reporting UFO encounters face several dangers. One of the main threats is social stigma. Witnesses are often ridiculed and not taken seriously, which can negatively impact their personal and professional lives. In addition, there are more serious risks, including psychological pressure, threats, and even physical danger. especially if their evidence involves secret government programs or military installations. There are several examples of mysterious deaths of UFO researchers. For example, James McDonald, a renowned scientist and UFO researcher, allegedly committed suicide in 1971 after a series of mysterious events and threats. Morris Jessup, author of The Case for UFOs, also died under suspicious circumstances in 1959, raising suspicions of possible outside interference. There are programs to protect witnesses and UFO researchers. Some organizations provide legal support and security advice. There are many theories about the connection between the deaths of UFO researchers and their work. Some suggest that governments or secret organizations eliminate people who have dangerous knowledge or reveal classified information. Others believe that these deaths may be the result of psychological pressure and stress associated with the study and disclosure of such data. Friendship between the inhabitants of ancient Egypt and aliens. The topic of the connection between ancient Egypt and UFOs is a subject of interest to many researchers and paranormal enthusiasts. Many facts remain speculation, but there are also details that defy logical explanation. In some temples and pyramids, you can find drawings reminiscent of modern ideas about UFOs. The most famous example is the image on the walls of the Temple of Ramesses II at Abu Simbel. On one of the walls, researchers found an image of a flying saucer with a round shape and strange aerodynamic characteristics. Other evidence includes numerous papyrus records about UFOs. One of them is translated as follows: "And a circle of fire appeared in the sky. It had no head, but a terrible stench came out of its mouth. Its body was huge. It was voiceless." A little scary, isn't it? Similar records belong to a chronicler who lived 3,500 years ago. He claimed that the sky was covered with fiery discs, but the pharaoh did not chicken out and did not allow the soldiers to flee, after which the flying objects disappeared in an instant. Concepts such as winged shields and discs of fire appear repeatedly in ancient Egyptian written religious sources. Iron was practically unmined in ancient Egypt and was a rare metal, but writings often mention iron thrones, scepters, and clothing intended for the pharaoh. The sun god was dressed in metal and sat on a throne of iron and fire, which also sounds quite strange. The Abydos hieroglyphs discovered in the hall of the funeral temple of Pharaoh Seti deserve special attention. Here, ufologists noticed a helicopter, a submarine, a glider, and an airship. For a long time, photographs of the find were considered falsified, but soon their authenticity was confirmed. There were suggestions that the inhabitants of ancient Egypt were able to look into the future, while other scientists believed that aliens traveled in time and simply told them about the events of the 20th century. Skeptics categorically deny such ideas, believing that the images were the result of the superposition of two hieroglyphic inscriptions, which suffered destruction of the plaster between them. There is another, no less amazing drawing where a flying disc drops an aerial bomb, but critics here have their own logical explanation. We are pets on a giant farm. Humanity may not be the only intelligent species in the universe, but there is no evidence yet for the existence of alien life. One argument for their possible existence is the Drake equation, which suggests that there should be many extraterrestrial civilizations. Recently, a group of scientists modified this equation to include the number of exoplanets found and reduce the number of variables to 2, the number of habitable planets and the probability of intelligent life. The results showed that there could be billions of developed worlds, but the time frame for their existence was not taken into account. Astronomers from Columbia and Sydney universities have refined the equation, concluding that either the universe must be full of life or it is extremely rare. The Fermi paradox highlights this mystery. According to scientific evidence, intelligent life should exist, but we see no signs of it. One hypothesis that explains this paradox is the zoo hypothesis proposed by radio astronomer John Ball. He suggested that alien civilizations exist but deliberately avoid contact with humanity, observing us as exhibits in a zoo. They may want Earthlings to develop independently without outside interference. This approach is reminiscent of the situation with the Sentinelese, a people on an island in the Indian Ocean who refuse to contact the outside world, and others respect their choice. As in the case of the Sentinelese, alien civilizations may deliberately avoid interfering with our progress, observing our development from the outside. However, the zoo theory is subject to criticism. Some scientists believe that maintaining such a quarantine for millions of years is extremely difficult. Any single civilization could break these rules and make contact. Others argue that the moral principles of aliens may not coincide with ours, which makes the idea that they care about our development questionable.
Tiahuanaco Cave. In the Tiahuanaco area, one of the most ancient and mysterious archaeological complexes in Bolivia, a cave was discovered with strange creatures depicted on its walls. These figures have large heads and eyes, which resembles the images of aliens that are widespread in modern culture. The discovered images immediately attracted the attention of archaeologists from all over the world. Some researchers have suggested that these images may reflect the myths and beliefs of the ancient cultures of the region, associating them with divine or supernatural beings. In the ancient civilizations of South America, images of anthropomorphic creatures with exaggerated features of body parts are often found, which could symbolize their special role and status in mythology. And then supporters of the theory of paleocontact put forward their hypothesis that these images may be evidence of real contacts with extraterrestrial beings who visited the Earth in ancient times. Interestingly, there are similar images and figurines all over the world that have many coincidences. Did humanity really encounter something extraterrestrial in ancient times? What do you think? Write your opinion in the comments below the video.
Ancient inscriptions of the pharaohs in the Nile. Archaeological divers at the bottom of the murky waters of the Nile in Egypt examined algae-covered rock formations. At first glance, the stones seemed unremarkable. However, upon closer examination, scientists discovered several inscriptions associated with the ancient pharaohs. A joint team of Egyptian and French archaeologists decided to explore the ruins in the reservoir in Aswan. Under a layer of algae, they found several carvings that were at least 2,300 years old. The images ranged from drawings of ancient Egyptian pharaohs to hieroglyphs. The photo shows several well-preserved carved figures. The shapes are blurred by water and quite difficult to distinguish. One set of lettering appears to be a row of mannequin heads above two objects that resemble tombstones. These ancient inscriptions are still being studied. Archaeologists believe that these finds will help to better understand how the ancient kings ruled in those distant times.
Secret UFO video hidden by the U.S. government. On November 23, 2019, near the southern border between Arizona and Mexico, Department of Homeland Security agents flew aircraft to locate and arrest smugglers transporting illegal substances into the United States. At some point, their infrared camera captured something that had a rather strange shape. A mysterious object visually reminiscent of a rubber duck amazed observers and then the American government. In September 2021, a secret video was given to an expert studying aliens. After receiving the video from the Department of Homeland Security, Andy Marshall was shocked to see an object that resembled a rubber duck. First appearing on the internet, the video amazed viewers with the fact that the unknown object is about 2 meters long and moves without any wings or traces of exhaust gases. An object resembling a duck flew in a certain direction for about an hour, and the video of the official federal agency does not allow one to think that this was a montage. The ufology community takes the video extremely seriously, believing that it proves the existence of UFOs. Experts who analyze the recording also differ in their opinions. It is known that unidentified flying objects have common behavioral characteristics, including speed, camouflage, and altitude. As for the so-called rubber duck, it moved too slowly, covering only 15 kilometers in half an hour. Such wind speeds are normal in this area, so it is possible that the secret UFO video is just an object that was picked up by air currents.
He disappeared 100 years ago. The remains of a climber who disappeared on Everest in 1924 have been found. We are talking about Andrew Sandy Irvin, who tried to conquer the summit with George Mallory. Irvin's family did not know about his fate for a long time, and the discovery brought them relief. A crew filming a documentary for National Geographic came across a boot during the melting of the glacier. Experts assumed that it belonged to Irvine. Relatives lost hope that his tracks would be found. For them, Uncle Sandy has always remained a family hero about whom they spoke with trepidation. Irvine was only 22 years old, and it is believed that he had a camera with undeveloped film, which could have contained photographs from the summit. Now, Irvine's family has given a DNA sample to confirm the identity of the remains found. A sock found in a shoe had a name tag with his name on it, A.C. Irvine. Irvine and Mallory were last seen alive on June 8, 1924. Mallory's body was not discovered until 1999. Out-of-place artifact. Out-of-place artifacts are finds that do not fit into the traditional understanding of our history at all. They are found in places and layers of the earth where they should not be. The most amazing thing is that, given their age and level of complexity, such objects simply could not have been created at a time when, as is believed, no advanced technology existed. Official science often declares such finds to be fakes or simply ignores them, but their number is growing, and it is no longer possible to turn a blind eye to them. Let's take, for example, the mysterious Baigun metal pipes discovered in China. These pipes go deep into the ground and extend to the shores of lakes. Their age is estimated at 150,000 years. The composition of the pipes, including iron and other minerals, and their antiquity baffle researchers. Some believe that this is the result of natural processes, but others believe that the pipes could be traces of a highly developed civilization or even left by aliens. No less mysterious is a forged nail, the age of which exceeds 350 million years. This nail was found in a rock layer dating back to the Paleozoic, a time when neither people nor metalworking existed. How could such a nail get into ancient rocks? Some scientists suggest tectonic processes, others talk about the intervention of previously unknown civilizations. Fossilized tools were found in Provence, which could have been made by people or even from ancient trees. If this is true, then such finds indicate the existence of intelligent beings who had woodworking skills long before the appearance of the first known civilizations. Other finds are even stranger. In Antarctica, the Eltanin antenna was discovered, which at first looked like a high-tech object. However, it later turned out to be just a sea sponge. Nevertheless, the very fact of such a misconception shows how wrong we can be when faced with the inexplicable. The Paluxy River tracks are another mystery. Giant humanoid footprints were found next to dinosaur tracks. This discovery challenges our understanding of the chronology of life on Earth, since, according to the theory of evolution, dinosaurs and humans never crossed paths in time. There are other examples. The anomaly on Mount Ararat, which is associated with Noah's Ark, the clay figurine from Nampa, the age of which is unclear, or the Wolf's Egg iron, which is considered a remnant of the prehistoric era. Let's not forget about the Tucson artifacts, a collection of 31 lead objects found in 1924 near Picture Rocks, Arizona. These artifacts include crosses, swords, and other objects engraved with Latin and Hebrew inscriptions, as well as images resembling medieval symbols. Initially thought to be the work of ancient Mediterranean civilizations that allegedly crossed the Atlantic in the 1st century, many scholars later believed that they were hoaxes created in modern times to mislead researchers. Either way, each of these artifacts challenges our understanding of the past and opens the door to new theories and research. Perhaps our history is more surprising and mysterious than we could ever imagine. Stromatolites. These are some of the oldest evidence of life on Earth, estimated to be around 3.5 billion years old. These ancient formations are made up of thin layers of sedimentary rock that were created by colonies of cyanobacteria, primitive microorganisms capable of photosynthesis. Stromatolites can be found in various parts of the world, but some of the most famous and well-preserved examples are found in Australia, particularly in the Shark Bay area. The cyanobacteria that created stromatolites played a key role in changing the chemical composition of the Earth's atmosphere by releasing oxygen through photosynthesis. This led to the so-called oxygen catastrophe, which, although it caused a mass extinction of anaerobic organisms, created the conditions for the development of more complex life forms, including animals and plants. Stromatolites are thus considered the oxygen factories of antiquity.
UFO in Roswell, the beginning of a government conspiracy. On June 24, 1947, a pilot was flying over the Cascade Mountains of Washington state while searching for a crashed military plane. At some point, he noticed 9 crescent-shaped objects flying in formation at an altitude of more than 3 kilometers at a speed of 1,900 kilometers per hour, which at that time seemed unrealistic. Arnold Kenneth was the first to describe unidentified flying objects as saucers. The media learned about this and coined the phrase "flying saucer," which later became an integral part of the main modern mystery of mankind.
2 weeks later, on July 7, 1947, a rancher in Roswell contacted the sheriff reporting strange debris. He had heard a story about flying saucers and suggested that one of them might have crashed during a recent storm. After receiving the debris, the sheriff turned it over to the Army Air Base. Soon, the military arrived at the ranch, which began a series of stunning events. Within 24 hours, the authorities completely changed their attitude towards the discovery, saying that the journalists had made a mistake and that what happened had nothing to do with a UFO. In 1978, the Roswell UFO crash became a popular topic. Again, the former military man admitted that the logical explanations were a cover-up and the photographs were staged. He claimed that the real wreckage was replaced to hide the existence of aliens. Those participating in the search knew for sure that it was an extraterrestrial spacecraft, but could not tell people about it. Curious scientists found several more retired military personnel, and they all confirmed the fact of the UFO crash. Skeptics believe that they lied for the sake of a fee, but no one has yet been able to refute or confirm that the US government hit a crashed alien spaceship. To believe in UFOs or not, everyone decides for themselves. Some facts of extraterrestrial civilization are still beyond doubt, forcing us to accept a new reality. At the same time, a Pentagon UFO hunter and former head of the Anomalous Phenomena Investigations Office gave an interview that cannot be ignored. Sean Kirkpatrick admitted that his office has not found any real evidence regarding alien origins. In addition, he denies government conspiracies to hide evidence of the existence of aliens. At the same time, U.S. Air Force veteran David Grush gave a scandalous interview confirming that he participated in hiding the bodies of aliens and extraterrestrial vehicles. Ancient Pharaoh was a mutant. Scientists claim that the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten may have been a hybrid of a human and an alien. Stuart Fleischmann, an associate professor of comparative genomics at the Swiss University in Cairo, and his team conducted a 7-year study of the DNA of 9 ancient Egyptian pharaohs. Their results could revolutionize our understanding of ancient history. The analysis used a polymerase chain reaction technique to obtain an accurate genetic profile of the pharaohs. Nothing unusual was found in 8 DNA samples, but the DNA of Akhenaten, who lived in the 14th century BC, showed significant anomalies. One gene, SEXPAC5, which is responsible for the growth of the cerebral cortex, was especially active in Akhenaten, which may explain his enlarged skull, a characteristic feature depicted in ancient Egyptian statues. The increased activity of this gene suggests that Akhenaten had a more developed brain. Scientists cannot explain how this mutation occurred because such changes in the human brain are unknown to science. This suggests that the ancient Egyptians may have been genetically manipulated by extraterrestrial beings. Additional data, such as an analysis of Akhenaten's bone tissue, also shows its unusual density. This may indicate enhanced brain development. Fleischmann says the results have been carefully checked and may serve as evidence that the ancient Egyptians may have had contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. Metallic objects from Gigas. The La Mana caves in Ecuador have attracted the attention of not only archaeologists, but also fans of mysticism and ufology for many years. The story of the discovery of metal objects in these caves is shrouded in mystery and mysticism. According to legend, metal plates were discovered in La Mana with symbols engraved on them that resemble modern diagrams, maps, and even technical drawings. These findings became the basis for hypotheses about the existence of an unknown civilization in the distant past that possessed highly developed technologies, or about contacts between ancient people and extraterrestrial beings. Supporters of these theories argue that such complex and detailed symbols could not have been created with primitive tools and should indicate more advanced knowledge. Some researchers even suggest that the plates could have served as star maps or technological instructions left by aliens. However, most scientists are very skeptical about these findings. There is no conclusive evidence that the metal objects from La Mana are indeed ancient. Some experts point to possible traces of modern metalworking and the inconsistency of these artifacts with styles and technologies known in ancient Ecuador. Moreover, there is a lack of reliable dating and context for the objects, which further undermines their authenticity. Archaeologists believe that these artifacts may have been created in a later period, perhaps as part of a hoax or to attract tourists. Thus, despite the fascinating and mysterious story of the metal objects from the caves of Lamana, their origin and meaning remain in question. The story of the caves of Lamana is an example of how myths and legends can intertwine with reality, creating fascinating but often unreliable stories about our past. Papyrus Tuli. This is an ancient Egyptian document that, according to some sources, describes sightings of unusual celestial phenomena that are reminiscent of modern ideas about UFOs. The papyrus was discovered in the first half of the 20th century and allegedly belonged to the former director of the Egyptian Museum in the Vatican, Alberto Tulli. The papyrus text tells that during the reign of Pharaoh Thutmose III, around 1480 BC, strange luminous objects appeared in the sky. They are described as discs of fire that moved across the sky, emitting light and noise. These objects caused panic among the inhabitants and priests, and their appearance was recorded as an unusual event. Although the authenticity of the Tully Papyrus is disputed and has generated much controversy among scholars, its contents continue to attract the attention of researchers and UFO enthusiasts. Some believe the document may be ancient evidence of alien sightings. Advanced construction technology. Archaeologists in Denmark have made a major discovery at a 5,000-year-old settlement. They have uncovered a stone-paved cellar, which shows a significant advance in ancient Scandinavian construction technology. The find was made at the Nygårdsvej 3 site, where the remains of several funnel beaker houses were also found. These houses had internal pillars supporting the roof, and the floors were likely made of a mixture of sand and clay, a material known as loam, which is still used today. The site was strategically chosen. It was located on high ground, which provided protection from flooding and a good view of the area. Around the underground stone structure, archaeologists also found about 1,000 artifacts, including flint tools, pottery shards, and sea urchin fossils. The researchers suggest that the underground structure served as a food storage facility thanks to its stable temperature. This could be one of the oldest cellars in Europe used as a refrigerator to preserve resources. If further research confirms this, the find will be important evidence of a technological leap in ancient Europe. Gold jewelry from space. Amid the glittering gold and treasures of Iberia's Bronze Age, two unassuming-looking objects may be the most valuable of all. A corroded bracelet and a rusty, hollow hemispherical object decorated with gold turned out to be more than just metal artifacts. Researchers have discovered that they were forged not from metal mined from the Earth, but from iron from meteorites that fell from the sky. The discovery, published in January, shows that metalworking technology in Iberia more than 3,000 years ago was far more advanced than previously thought. The so-called Treasure of Villena, a collection of 66 gold objects, was found in 1963 in Alicante, Spain. It is considered one of the rarest examples of Bronze Age jewelry in the Iberian Peninsula and all of Europe. However, the true age of the collection was difficult to determine, mainly due to two artifacts: a hollow hemisphere, probably part of a scepter or sword hilt, and a bracelet. These objects had an iron appearance, which raised questions among archaeologists. The Iron Age in the Iberian Peninsula did not begin until around 850 BC, while the gold materials in the treasure date back to the period 1500 to 1200 BC. However, it turns out that the iron did not necessarily have to come from terrestrial ores. Some Bronze Age artifacts, including Tutankhamun's famous iron dagger, were made of meteoric iron, which was highly prized in ancient times. After conducting mass spectrometry analysis of samples of the artifacts, the results showed that both objects were made of meteoric iron, solving the mystery of their origin. Rate the video with a thumbs up or down and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Bye everyone.